Hi, you've completed your warm-up and your work phase of your Pilates class, and now it's time to move into the cool down phase of stretching and relaxation. So we will continue to apply the 5 principles throughout parts of this as we work toward targeted stretching. Also during stretching phase is a great time to move some of your focus toward deep breathing again and slowing down your whole system, bringing down your heart rate and your blood pressure. We're going to start by bringing one knee to chest, just for a gentle stretch into the back of the hip and into your low back. Just a little stretch here, and then we're going to go ahead and lengthen out the leg to get into the hamstring stretch here. I'm going to have you create your neutral spine now, so a little arch in the low back, then stabilize the lower abdominals and pelvic floor. And so as you pull into the stretch here, it will isolate your hamstring. You may be with your foot all the way pointing toward the ceiling or even further up here, depending on length of hamstring. You don't even have to have your knee all the way straight, but you want to feel that stretch back here. Then go ahead and pull your toes toward your nose, move that into your calf. Each stretch should be a good 30 seconds or longer. You can use a strap or a towel loop here to get a little bit more mechanical advantage during your stretch. And I'm going to have you lengthen out your other leg to get a stretch in the front of the other hip. And some nice deep breathing here. And we're going to go ahead, bring that ankle across the other knee, pull the leg up into a figure 4 or a back-lying pigeon stretch. We were doing yoga, and I can do a little bit of overpressure here. We want to feel, with the cross leg here, we want to feel the stretch in the back of that hip as we are moving this leg and hip into external rotation, getting good stretch there. So during all of these stretches, working on front and back of body to get stretched out. All right, we're going to put that down. We're going to go to the other side, knee to chest gently first here, stretching our hip and our low back, stretching it out to go into the hamstring. Feeling that, pull our toes toward our nose, working all the way down into the calf. And we're going to use a towel loop or strap if we like on the ball of the foot to get a little bit more stretch. Stretch out the other leg, get a nice stretch in front of this other hip. Lots of deep breathing, still keeping a neutral spine to isolate that hamstring. And bringing it across, going into figure 4 and bringing it up, getting a good stretch in the back of that other hip. Again, keeping a neutral spine here will really get a stronger stretch into the hip, and we can use some of our deep breathing as we are just slowing ourselves down here. All right, we're going to come up into sitting. I'm going to face you just so you can see. I'm going to extend. This would be your right leg, my left, your right leg, and then bringing your left leg across. The intent here is to bring the knee across midline. I'm sitting up nice and tall. My other hand's going to go behind me and up against my body to help stabilize into a neutral sitting posture, neutral spine. Intent is to pull this knee across midline and to keep both of my sits bones on the floor. Lift up through pelvic floor, pull the lower abdominal muscles in. Nice stretch into internal rotation of this hip. And also iliotibial band, just a nice stretch, deep breathing. Let's switch to the other side. Again, intent, now your right leg crossing, my left, and intent to pull that knee across, either hooking the elbow or with the hand pulling across. Nice tall posture. Again, this hand supporting neutral spine, deep breathing. Both sits bones on the floor. We're going to move into hands and knees. So first, hands and knees position. I'm going to just go ahead and bring one leg through. I'm going to get to that 90-90 position of hip and knee, and then leaning forward into it, going into a lunge stretch here. The main intent here is stretching the front of this hip in the back. So as I get into this position, I'm going to pull up my pelvic floor, pull my lower abdominal muscles in, and my sits bone on the forward leg, which is my right leg, but sits bone here, pulling it back toward the other thigh. I'll just square out my pelvis as I really pull up through lower abs and pelvic floor, and even squeeze my gluteals a little and lean forward into it. I can really target the stretch into this back hip and really help us with counteracting all the sitting we do at computers, in our cars, on our couches. Really get shortened through here. Let's go ahead and bring the arms out. We're going to pull the scapula down the back wall of our chest here, back down over the ribs, and move the hands back, keeping the abs engaged to keep ourselves from arching here, leaning into it, and moving the hands down into a V. We just move that stretch into where our pectorals attach into our collarbone, and we're deep breathing. Nice. We're going to switch to the other side. Back to hands and knees, bringing the other leg through. First you've got about 90-90, then leaning into it, into that lunge. Pulling up through pelvic floor, lower abs, and this sits bone now pulling it back toward the other thigh to square my pelvis. Arms come back out. Again, really connecting ribs, shoulder blades down the back, and hands moving back. Nice chest stretch, and then moving up into a V here. Really get that stretch into the rib cage. Big couple deep breaths here. And now back into the hands and knees position, kind of finding your neutral position, nice long spine. Lifting up through pelvic floor and the lower abdominal muscles here. I'm going to take a breath in, going into cat. We're going to let the head lead now with a little nod of the head as we breathe out, and then head and neck and shoulders, mid-back, low back into full hissing cat, continuing to pull up through pelvic floor and lower abs. Big breath in. Breath out as we initiate with the head. It comes up first, then the shoulders drop down, mid-back, low back. Let's do that again. Breath in, breath out, little head nod, continuing that sequential flexion into full cat. Big breath in at the top. Head leads as we come back down to neutral, then bringing our hips back down onto our haunches, moving into shell. Again, here I'm going to have you stretch out the hands, stretching our fingers away from the body. Nice stretch through the entire spine. Pull up to pelvic floor and lower abs and get even more, intensify the stretch into low back. Couple more deep breaths here. Ooh, any of those stretches you can do for longer periods of time if you like. And there you have it. We have finished our first series of our Stott Pilates. See you next time for series 2.